All right, let's talk about something we've all been through. And let's be honest, probably didn't always love tests. You know that feeling, right? The pop quiz, the big final exam, it can be super stressful. But what if I told you there's a whole world behind these assessments that's actually designed to help us learn better? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the world of educational assessment. I mean, really, think about it for a second. Beyond just getting a grade, and beyond that feeling of dread or maybe excitement, what is the actual point of all these tests, quizzes, and exams we take? What job are they really supposed to be doing?
And that right there is the secret. They're not all the same, not even close. A great way to think about it is that your education is a journey. Some assessments are like the map you check before you even leave the house. Others are like the GPS, giving you those real-time directions. And some, well, they're like the photo album you look back on when the whole trip is over. Each one has a very different, very specific job.
So any good journey has to have a starting point, right? Before you can even think about where you're going, you've got to know where you are right now. And that's exactly where our first type of assessment comes into play.
This is what we call a diagnostic assessment. It's basically a pretest. It's a quick look to see what you already have in your toolkit before the learning even kicks off. It's how an instructor can plan the best route for the journey ahead, making sure they don't waste time on roads you've already traveled. So, how does this work in the real world? Well, imagine an instructor who's putting together a 3-day work seminar. They can't cover everything, right? So they use a diagnostic assessment to figure out what the employees already get. This way, they can spend that precious seminar time on the stuff that's actually new and challenging for everyone. Smart, huh? Okay, so our journey is underway. We've started down the path, but how do we know we're still going in the right direction? We need checkpoints. We need that helpful GPS voice that tells you to recalculate if you take a wrong turn. These are our mid-journey check-ins. And that is the job of formative assessment. Now, this one isn't about a final grade. It's all about feedback. These are the quick quizzes, the show of hands, the exit tickets, all the little things that happen during the learning. They're tools that let the teacher check for understanding and, adjust the lesson on the fly to meet you where you are. Picture a math teacher who's explaining something like the Pythagorean theorem over 5 days. How do they actually know if the students are getting it? They use formative assessments every single day. The data from those little check-ins tells the teacher, okay, we need to go over this part again tomorrow. Or, awesome, they've got it, we can move on. It's a real-time adjustment to keep the whole class on track. Now, there's a close cousin to formative assessment that's called ipsative. It's a bit of a funny word, I know, but while formative helps the teacher adjust things for the whole group, ipsative is all about you. It focuses purely on your personal progress, comparing how you're doing today against how you did in the past. Let's look at this example from a reading software program. So you get a gold star when you master a chapter. That's a reward based on your own progress. But if you get a quiz question wrong later, you might lose that star and have to review. See? That system is a perfect example of an ipsative assessment. It's not comparing you to anyone else in the class, just your own mastery of the material. It's all designed to motivate you by showing you just how far you've come.
So we've planned our trip, we've checked our progress along the way, and now it's finally time to arrive at the destination and see what we've accomplished. It's time to cross that finish line.
And this is the summative assessment. This is the one we all know. It's your final exam, your big end-of-term project, your final paper. It happens at the very end of a unit or a course, and its job is to measure what you've learned against the original goals. It's the summary of the whole trip. It's the final photo album. Here's a great example from the professional world. A principal needs to know if a big, expensive training program for teachers was actually effective. Well, after the training is totally finished, she might give them an assessment. The results will give her a summative, big-picture look at what the teachers actually retained, helping her see how successful the program really was. Okay, so now we get when assessments happen, before, during, and after. But how do they actually measure learning? What's the yardstick they're using to see how we've all done? Well, there are 2 big ways to do this. First up is norm referenced. This is all about comparing you to the group. Think grading on a curve. Your score is completely relative to how everyone else performed. On the other hand, you have criterion referenced assessment. And here, it doesn't matter how anyone else did. It only matters if you met the fixed standard. A driving test is the perfect example, right? You either pass or you fail based on the official rules of the road. This table really helps connect all the dots, so let's walk through it.
At the most basic level, you've got your traditional quiz, like a simple multiple-choice test. It's all about memorization. Then, a step up, you've got standards-based tests, like your state exams, checking if you've mastered a specific list of skills for your grade. Very similar to that is criterion referenced, like an AP exam, where the goal is to hit a certain standard of excellence, no matter what other students do. Then, of course, there's norm referenced, where the only thing that matters is how you stack up against your peers, the classic curve. And finally, you have competency-based assessment, which asks a totally different question. Can you actually apply your skills to do something real, like create a presentation for your job?
So after all of that, what's the big takeaway? What is the real point of all this testing and measuring? I promise you, it's so much more than just a letter grade on a report card. It really all boils down to these three core purposes. First, it's about gathering evidence of what we actually know and what we can do. Second, it's about empowering us, the learners, to see where we are, reflect on our own progress, and adjust our journey. And third, it's to summarize what we've achieved, basically certifying that we've mastered a skill. And if you remember just one thing from all of this, please make it this. The best assessments, the really good ones, aren't just there to slap a number on what you know. They are active tools in the learning process. They don't just measure learning, they empower it. So the next time you get handed a quiz or you're studying for a big final, I want you to try and think about it differently. Ask yourself not just, okay, what's the right answer, but what's the purpose of this test? Is it finding my starting point? Is it guiding me along the way? Or is it summarizing my whole journey? Because believe me, understanding the why can change everything.